Hi, so if you have a property and you want to sell it, as a property owner or as a broker, these are some of the tips to consider to avoid giving red flags to clients. So I'll first talk about the tips property owners to know, and I'll then talk about tips brokers need to know. So property owners, I want to say this. Your urgent financial demand is not equivalent to your property that has been put for sale. Why? Because most of the time, when the property owner is looking for an S amount of money to do whatever he or she wants the money for, and they have a property, they intend to, okay, I'm going to sell this property and I'm getting the money from this property, and I'm going to use it for whatever they intend to use the money for. That should not be the case. It shouldn't be the case because sometimes it leads to overpricing of the property. And another thing is it leads to they mounting pressure on clients to make purchases when the client is not done with their due diligence and everything, and looks like they are pressuring the client to make payment. And usually it kind of gives some kind of red flags to clients. I mean, if you are looking for money to do your whatever you want to do, that has got no influence on your client. So property owners should not equate their urgent financial demand for whatever they need the money for to a property they want to sell. Number two, property owners should not mount pressure on clients for money. So you have a property, you put it out for sale, and someone comes, and most of the time, especially when the property has got many people who are interested, and they're like, if you don't make payments, you come and the property is not there, and all those things, and they're kind of rushing a client. No, when you do that, you kind of made red flags. No matter how hot cake your property is, allow the client to buy the property at their own convenience. Let them do all their necessary due diligence. If in case the person is done and another person pays for it, that is it. Do not mount pressure on clients to make payments. So your property sale remains on scale as the client is doing their due diligence and whatever it says. So do not mount pressure on him or her. When the client is done and they want to make payment at their own convenience, yes, there are so many ways of fast tracking or signaling to clients to make payment as fast as possible without mounting pressure. And one of them is to just exercise patience and just give them quick notices, but do not mount pressure. Do not tell somebody to make down payment, especially when the person has not really done any due diligence. The person comes to do site viewing, view your property, and you are just mounting pressure. So some of these things is kind of give red flags, and sometimes you get to realize that the client even might be really, really interested in the property, but because of out of fear of purchasing a litigation property, they kind of scale back. So these are some of the red flags. So now to the broker. Both parties, which is the property owner and your clients, their interest should be your priority. Do not take sides. Number two, know how to communicate how swift the transaction should be without necessarily inculcating pressure on the client. So let the clients be free. I understand that some clients are very slow. They would like to take things slow. Yes, but one thing we all need to understand is that there are three different types of people. We have risk lovers, we have risk averse, and we have risk neutral. And people who are risk averse, normally they like to take things at a slower pace. Allow him or her to do all their due diligence. Do not mount pressure on a client. And number three, don't feel under pressure by a property owner. And that is what I want to make emphasis on. Sometimes we sometimes feel under pressure when the property owner is also mounting pressure on you, where that how the client how far and all those things. So you also want to mount some kind of pressure on your clients. No, do not feel under pressure by the property owner to also mount pressure on the client. Know how to communicate and how swift the transaction should be. Number three, it doesn't matter how super interested a client is. Once the client has not made purchase, the client has not made full payment or make part payment or commitment payment, whatever it is, for a property, the property in question should always remain on scale. Do not stop marketing it. Some people can show interest and all of a sudden we have live occurrences that we unforeseen occurrences. Something can come on. I once had a client who wanted to buy a property there and there, and Charlie, just then and there he lost a relative and he has to put all transactions on hold. So sometimes we kind of stop marketing a property just because somebody is super interested and the person is going, we think the person is going to make payment as soon as possible. No, continue your marketing. Let the property always remain on scale. Even when your super interested client is interested, when a super interested client is still on board. Then number 4, you the broker, your urgent financial demand or your urgent financial need is not equivalent to the purchase of any property. So if you have a personal financial demand and you need money to do something, and you know that when you sell this property, you're going to walk home with this S amount of commission or whatever it is, that is not equivalent to the money you need for your own personal expenses. So do not equate, the moment you equate your urgent financial demand to the sale of a property, you begin to mount pressure on clients, and honestly it will turn off clients, and it usually serve as a red flag. So we have to know that a property owner urgent financial demand is not equivalent to the sale of his or her property, and you the broker, your urgent financial demand is also not equivalent to the urgent sale of a property. Properties are not like gold that has an already existing market where you buy, you are holding gold, you just take it and just go and sell it. No, properties are not like that. A property can be on scale for a month, a year. That is how it's a property. So do not mount pressure. If you have any urgent financial demand, go and look for money from elsewhere and use it to sort yourself out. Do not mount pressure on clients to be making payments